The time has finally come to go through this big old bag of Indian head scents that I bought from my silver dealer. Hey everyone, it's RobFindsTreasure and welcome back to the channel. If you don't know what's going on with this bag, I highly recommend you watch my last hunt that had the V-nickels that we bought from my silver dealer and a whole bunch of other goodies. I have that video. If you want to check it out, listed up here. That being said, in this bag is 228 flipped Indian head pennies, and we even added one from that nickel bag in here as well. So 229 Indian head cents we have to go through. The date on the bag doesn't make sense. I don't know why it says 1908 through 1909. This is by the person who brought it in and sold it to them. But either way, I know there's some older ones in here because I could already see, like right there, I can already see an 1863 in decent shape. So because there were some great V-nickels from the same customer, and this came from them, I'm hoping we got some great dates in here as well. Now, I do not expect to find any varieties, although I'll be looking for them. And I do not expect to find the 1877, of course. But if we can get a lot of the dates and amass a nice backup Indian head scent collection, that would be awesome. No more chit-chat. Let's dump out the bag, lay them out, and then I'll begin the sort. I'll be back with the bag dump out in just a second. All right, 228. Well, that's what the bag says, so we're going to assume that's right. But holy cow, this is going to take a while. And just for sake of reference here, I will be taking them out of the flip. I don't like them in flips like this. And yeah, that's a pretty decent 1907 right there. They do have what I guess they think are grades on all of these. We even have a 1909 here. They have what I assume is grades on all of them and some potential values. I'm not sure I agree with that, but holy cow, that's a nice 1909. That's a pretty nice 1909. Could be cleaned. And again, it's hard to tell in the flip. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and begin stacking them by year in the flips at first. And if it starts taking up too much room, I may just skip ahead and get to where the point is that I have them out of the flips. Let me start going through them. If I see any awesome dates as I'm stacking them, I'll bring you guys back. If not, we'll just be stacking them and bring you back after the sort. 1 hour later. All right, I am back. I have got all the flips sorted. Holy cow, this is quite the collection here. We did not get any S-mints from 1908 or 1909. You know I had to look at the back of these just to make sure. And I do not have the best of every example on top. But take a look at the dates. 1909, 08, 07, 06, 05, 04, 03, 02, 01, 1900, 1899, 1898, 1897. We do not have an 1896. 1895 and 94, no 1893s. 92, no 91 or 90s. We got an 89, no 88 or 87, but we have 86. And I don't know if they're saying there's type 1 and type 2. That's probably what they're writing up there. We'll have to double check that. 1884, no 85. 83, 82, 81, 80, a bunch of 1879s. And even though they only say they're in G condition, or I guess we got a VG one down there, that's a little bit better date there. Of course, no other ones from the 70s. No 1878 through 1870 at all. As a matter of fact, no 1869, 68, 67, or 66. But we do have some 65 and 64s. We have the 64 copper nickels, a bunch of 63 copper nickels, a 62, and of course no 61 or 60, but we even got an 1859. So a pretty nice collection here of Indian head pennies. I have not looked at the condition other than a few that you saw when I had them dumped out. What's next to do, before we do that, and this is that loose one we found that beat up 1902, which I put by the 1902s. What's next to do is I'm going to unflip them all, and then I'm going to put them in the best ones on top order so I can show you what would be the master set, so to speak, of what we got here. And if there's a couple that are really nice in the same year, I'll put them side by side. Either way, I'm really happy with this purchase already. And yeah, you can't get mad at that. I was expecting just all 1900s when he first called me. And then I saw some oldies in the bag. And after laying them out, we got a lot more oldies than I thought. Let me get them unflipped. If I happen to unflip one that looks super gorgeous, I'll bring you guys in for that one before I bring you back after the unflipping. Bring in for a quick update. So far, I've got the best ones from 1859 to 1886. Told you I would tell you whether or not they're both type 1 or type 2. And they had them labeled as both type 1 and type 2. And unfortunately, but also fortunately, they're both type 2. Type 2 is the better one of them. And for those that don't know the difference, it's pretty easy to tell. Variety 1, you got the last feather in his headdress is pointing to the I and C. And on type 2, the last feather is pointing to the CA. And if we grab these up really quick, you can see that last feather is pointing to the CA, and it's doing it on both. So they're both type 2. They're in terrible condition, unfortunately, but not a type 1 in the 86 year. Back to the unflipping and the variety checking. Well, I'm back. We officially have our first variety. I unpackaged all the 1894s. I had a couple left. Put an ugly one under the scope, and I'm checking for what's known as the double date. I'll show you what it looks like on PCGS. You can clearly see that the date has been doubled, 1894 all the way across. Now, it's an easy one to see on most coins that are even G4 or better. Unfortunately, I have an ugly one under the scope. It's been cleaned, and it's probably not even G4, but I'll bring up the scope images, and you can clearly see it's got the double date. It's got the double date. That's the images of the coin under the scope right now. And that's what it's got to look like. You can see this little dash at the top of the 8 here and there, and then this 9 and a little top of the 4. And if I bring my image back up one more time, we've got all that as well. So definitely got the 1894 double date, and they're worth a pretty good fortune in VF35 or more. They sell for like $500-$600 in VF35 or more. And even in low grades like this, it's probably a $25 to $50 coin. And it would get the designation because it's still obvious, but it's cleaned. And I would say cleaned with good details. Man, if we can find one in a better condition, that'd make me happy. But I can't get mad at finding that. Back to the hunt. Back to the unflipping. We've now finished unflipping through 1899. No other varieties have been found, but I wanted to bring in on a couple of nice cleaned 1899s. It's a nice looking coin. Too bad it looks like it's been cleaned. And then this one's definitely been cleaned. But man, look at that detail. Holy cow. It's unfortunate, but that's part of what happens when you buy these old collections. You're going to have people that handled them before the grading companies did. And yeah, a couple of shamers right there, but I'll still take them. This one's toning nicely. And this one, I don't know if it's bleached or whatever, but it is definitely whitewashed. All right. We've got a bazillion more flips to go. Now we're moving on to the 1900s. An eternity later. All right, I am back. Holy cow, my hands are cramping from opening up all those flips. I can store them better, that's why I took them out of the flips, and I can look at them for varieties better, which is why I took them out of the flips. That being said, we only got one variety. I didn't check for every single misplaced date or repunch date, especially on the coins that were in really slick condition. You know, AG3, G4, even VG coins are tough to tell. But I did my best I could. Only could make one variety out for certain. On the top, I have all of the nicest coins. Now, there could be 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 in some of the later years that are also equally nice, but I just chose the best coin that I could see easily as the best one. Here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to take the very best coins of all of these. I'm going to lay them out, show you the master set, compare that to my album, see if I have any upgrades, won't have any additions, and then I'll go from there. Let me do that really quickly and get these rolled up, and I'll be back in just a moment. All right, we are back. These are all the rolled Indian head cents from the collection, plus some that I already had left over from my collection. This is the 1894 double date in terrible shape, but still a good find. And now we're going to go from the oldest to the most recent and show you what we got. We've got the 1859, no 60 or 61. By the way, these are all the best coins. That's the 1862, 1863, 1864. That's all the copper nickels. Then we go to the bronze, 1864 bronze. It's the no L because I can't see if there's an L on any of them. 1865. And then we're missing a bunch from 1866 all the way until 1879. So quite a big run of no Indian head cents. But we pick up with a pretty nice 1879 right there. Then in 1880, 1881 with full liberty, 1882, 1883 with full liberty, 1884, no 85. We've got a pretty beat up 1886 type 2, no 87, no 88, but we do have an 89. Then we're missing an 1890 and an 1891, but we've got an 1892, an 1893 with full liberty, an 1894 with partial liberty, 1895, you can almost see all of liberty, no 1896, a nice 1897, a nice 1898, a beautiful but clean, most likely, 1899. Great detail though, holy cow. A nice 1900, looks cleaned as well. 1901, beautiful 1902, beautiful 1903, beautiful 1904, a decent 1905, a nice 1906, a nice 1907, a decent 1908, and a pretty nice 1909 as well. So a lot of nicer coins in the collection. Of course, we're missing both S mints here. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The type 1 is 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we're missing 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I think we're missing 23 right there. Plus the no L is 24, 25, 26. So I believe we're missing 26 out of the collection, but still a nice assortment considering what I got. And there's a lot of beauties in here. Next step is to quickly compare all of these to my album. I don't think anything is going to upgrade anything, but let me do that really quick. I'll come back, let you know if I had any upgrades, and give you some final thoughts on this pretty sweet Indian head penny collection. We have finished comparing this collection to my personal collection. I was able to update or upgrade the 1903. This is mine, a really nice one, but it did have a little scratch and it's missing full liberty, and the one that we had in the collection had full liberty and no scratch. So I did get an upgrade out of it. I'll definitely take that. And now I've got a subset for someone else down the road. I think I did really well on this purchase. By the time I factor in what I got from the other hunt, from the other video, plus what we got in this one, I definitely think I at least doubled my money in value. Plus, we got a little variety wasn't expecting. You guys can let me know down below what you think of this Indian head penny collection. I thought it was pretty nice. Yeah, it's missing a lot of the better dates, but it had a lot of better coins and a lot more dates than I thought. That's going to conclude this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, you know I certainly would appreciate that thumbs up. And as always, everyone, happy hunting and thanks for watching.